What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And Nick, the Rams' Week 1 preseason game is in the books. They beat the Cowboys by one single point. It was the Stetson Bennett show, Jordan Whittington, a lot of fun stuff to unpack just in Week 1 of the preseason alone. But first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
I'm good. It's a new season, so I got a new season hat. Dean has the shirt that I got him while I was home, not from the official store. Have to find that on Etsy. This is not an Etsy plug, but I'm good. It's wild. Usually the Rams are just a guaranteed L in preseason, and then after four, almost five picks, Stetson Bennett ends up somehow being a hero by the end. When really, I think the focal point of the story should be the defense,
Yeah,
but we would have, however the media wants to spin it, we won. It was fun to see Rams football back on television.
it was. The defense was really fun. They were flying around the ball. I mean, think for a preseason game, the defense was tackling really, really well. The twos and the threes specifically. Cowboys were 0 of 3 in the red zone. They had 3 red zone trips, were 0 for. The Rams forced turnover on downs 3 times. They had 3 sacks. So a lot of good stuff from the defense. But before we unpack everything, Stetson Bennett, Jordan Whittington, Tyler Davis, everything in between, I want to make sure that we remind everybody to like and subscribe. Good content coming your guys' way. Posted 3 highlights last night on Shorts. We're going to be posting more content following all of the preseason games. The Rams have another joint practice coming up in Oxnard against the Cowboys this week. It was previously scheduled. No, definitely not in Dallas. No, it was scheduled. They were supposed to go to El Segundo, which is a 3-hour commute. So per Jordan, McVay was chatting with Harbaugh and was like, "Hey, let's cancel this. It's too much back and forth. We're going to go to Oxnard. We're going to play the Cowboys again. So we're going to cover the joint practices. We're going to cover all the preseason games. So I want to remind you guys to like and subscribe. And also the partnership that we're continuing to push is with Autograph. We want to make sure that you guys are signed up to Autograph. We're about 60% to our goal in terms of referrals. It's an unbelievable app. All you guys have to do is download the Autograph app, enter our referral code, which is right here on the screen. You guys could see it here below as well. And then just listen to our podcasts. You could also listen to other Rams content creators. You get 30 coins for listening to a podcast. You get 30 coins for watching a video. You can read an article and get 5 coins. So it's super simple, and you could apply all of those coins and all of those points to tickets and Rams merchandise. So make sure that you guys sign up for the Autograph app. It's a great app, incredible interface. We love the partnership. It's scrolling below on the ticker. If you guys missed this, but I want to flash it again just so that you guys can see it, where real fans get unreal rewards at Autograph. So, Nick, the leading storyline of the preseason, everybody's favorite conversation point, it's Stetson Bennett. He's QB3 for a reason, right? Like he's obviously going to play behind Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G is going to be QB2 following his 2-game suspension to start the season. Stetson's going to be QB2 potentially for the first 2 weeks of the season. But like instant reaction, a lot of confidence and a lot of poise just in the first series alone. I think considering, the mental break, he was out for a really, really long period of time, took roughly a full year from a mental standpoint. Who knows what else he was dealing with? They kept it internal. But I thought for the most part, showed a lot of poise, showed a lot of confidence, and gunslinger mentality. McVay knew he was going to throw some picks. So
Yeah. I mean, a couple things just right off the bat with Stetson. I had a couple tweets that I ended up deleting because I felt like they were too mean. It started off with like waste of a pick.
yeah, well,
I'm trying to give him more of a break, but with 5 picks, really, and none of them like defense like jumping up and making a play. Like most of them, I mean, when there's 4 already, and you have to decipher which ones, but like just right to the defense, like right into their hands, like not even like it's a 1v1 ball and defense is up there making a play, just like bad looks. There was some confidence that we saw with him. Like there were some things that were good. The final, he clutched up on 4th and 6 and in the red zone and makes the game winner, and that's what everybody wants to talk about. And I understand that because positivity is better than negativity, but it's not really what you want to see from a guy that you took a chance on drafting higher, somebody that could have honestly gone undrafted. And it's not exactly what you want to see. I really do think, Dean, given the exact same training camp, you probably could have done better than Stetson in this situation.
I don't know. There's I think a lot of your points are valid. But maybe a couple of years ago, I could have hung in there in training camp with Stetson.
You're his age, right? Isn't he like 31?
No, he's not that old. I think I'm more of a dresser win at this point in my career. But a lot of preseason action for Stetson Bennett. He played all 4 quarters. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because, like I mentioned, it's a lot of time out not playing real football in live action scenarios. I thought his opening drive, I thought he had a lot of command, had a lot of poise, had a lot of confidence. There was a 4th down that he converted earlier on with his legs. I thought his timing was fine. I thought he worked through progressions and moved pretty well in the pocket. He's pretty mobile for QB3, and you saw that at Georgia. Some of the things that he did well are what QB3 struggle to do consistently in this league. And we know the interceptions are tough. That's the tough part. It was 24 of 38, 224 yards, a touchdown, 4 interceptions, quarterback rating of 48.5. But I thought for the most part, the first interception, you can't turn the ball over 4 times. You could do it a couple of times. Justin Fields fumbling twice in the Pittsburgh Steelers opener. Backup quarterbacks turn the ball over. That's why they're not starters. But the first one, I thought, he airmailed it over Jordan Whittington's head. That, I thought that was really tough. The second one looked like a miscommunication on potentially a choice route, right? Receiver wasn't in the right spot. Stetson looked like he threw it right to the guy. Third one, I thought he forced it into traffic. I thought the 4th one was a really, really poor throw. But he had some moments. He made a throw down the sideline to Tyler Johnson, which I thought could have been a pass interference. He also had another throw into the back corner of the end zone to Tyler Johnson. He just missed. They just had an opportunity, and they just missed the mark a little bit. It looked like, I think it was Tyler Johnson or Xavier Smith kind of tripped over the turf monster. But I think for the most part, it's a debut. The coach knew he was going to turn the ball over. It's just to that extent is where it gets a little worrisome, especially when you take into consideration, okay, this is going to be your backup quarterback for the first 2 weeks. And the Rams haven't had a ton of backup quarterback success over the past couple of years. But who's available? Ryan Tannehill, Brian Hoyer, Blaine Gabbert, AJ McCarron, Matt Barkley, Trevor Siemian. Are any of those guys, you got to onboard them? Are any of those guys more interesting names? Yeah, Tannehill maybe.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I would feel if, God forbid, something happens to Matthew, especially in Detroit, week 1, you don't want anything spooky or scary happening. And,
yeah, true.
And he goes down, and we got to put that guy in there who, he has opportunities in a couple more weeks in preseason to make a move, and progress past 4 interceptions. But yeah, I would feel more confident with Tannehill, 100%.
Sure, but then you got Jimmy G too. So I think Jimmy G is going to come back. He's going to be serviceable. Gave him a 1-year, $3 million deal. There's Jimmy G and Matthew Stafford on your screen. And another perspective I want you guys to take into consideration. I thought this is a really interesting tweet. Charles Cooper at What the Fuck Charles 88213. Brady and Manning both have had 6 4-interception games in their careers. Just a little bit of perspective.
Right. This is actually an amazing full circle moment because I remember quoting that, using that in my defense after Goff. It was Goff and Tua in 2020, and Goff had this terrible 4-interception game, and everybody was kind of like, "Oh, we have to get rid of him right now. This is it, the end of the Goff era." And let me just say, if you're using that for your argument, you already lost.
I know.
It's already.
I get it. Yeah, now all you want to see is progress, right? You hope that he can get on the same page as his receivers. Behind an offensive line that I thought was pretty interestingly constructed. You got guys like AJ Curie, you got Bo Limmer in the middle, you had Logan Bruss at right guard, you had Warren McClendon, who's going to be pretty solid depth behind Rob Havenstein. So a pretty interestingly constructed offensive line. So you got to take it into consideration. You're playing behind the 2s and 3s. This is the 3rd quarterback on the roster. It's the first time he's gotten real-time game action with a guy like Jordan Whittington. But Jordan Whittington was incredible.
Oh
that, and I'm not trying to overreact over the preseason, but this is a guy that has enough versatility to be able to move between the slot and the Z. So the F which you can call the slot, and the Z, which is Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Like, they're both guys that have gotten banged up in their careers. Puka's banged up right now. Cooper Kupp looks like he's going to be healthy. But 6 receptions on 9 targets for 74 yards, 4 first downs, 2 of 2 uncontested catches, 36 yards after the catch. He had a forced missed tackle. McVay talked about him being really, really mature for a rookie. And I think that's exactly what he is. He excelled at Texas as a big slot receiver, which is precisely what he is and can be at this level. And I think the versatility to be able to get some snaps out of the Z in rotation with Puka. If he is a little bit banged up, he could play in the big slot right behind Cooper Kupp. When Cooper Kupp needs a breather, he is 31 years old, not the same age as Stetson Bennett. So I think Jordan Whittington was probably the player of the game in terms of just maybe even best player on the field. And I think he's going to be a piece. McVay mentioned he's definitely going to be a piece moving forward on this roster. The Cam McCutcheon, or Lance McCutcheon, that was the wide receiver. He's more of an X receiver. So you kind of fit in the mold of like a DeMarcus Robinson or a Tutu Atwell in terms of a field stretcher, but like not a great separator, not a great blocker, was an undrafted kid out of Montana. This is a 6th-round pick that you were able to steal out of Texas. Understand Sark's offense. McVay and Sark talk all the time. I just think it made a lot of sense. And Jordan even alluded to this guy being the breakout player in training camp. So, I mean, she's got her eyes on everything, and that's the kind of thing you want to hang your hat on in terms of talent.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, that Jordan quip from our pod with her, because I mean, I was already looking out for him during the game because of that. She was saying he could be like a sneaky pick in your fantasy league because he might see the end zone a lot. Everything that we saw from him, the key to these Rams receivers that I think makes them so relevant and important in the offense is the yak. It's all about the yak. It's what you do after the ball touches your hands. And there's we have like such a versatile group of these guys that you have to make opportunities when you have the ball in your hands because there's so many other guys that can make these plays. Yeah, exactly. Puka, Cooper, DeMarcus, and now Whittington. And we saw it right away with his first reception. He stiff arms a guy down and then picks up like an additional 10 yards after the catch. It's exactly what you want to see from one of your rookies in preseason, and it's exactly why preseason can be fun because most of the time it's not.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you watch it, right? Because you find guys like Jordan Whittington. You got guys in the 6th round. I mean, just a 6th-round contribution in totality. Tyler Davis, who we're going to talk about in a second. Joshua Carty, Jordan Whittington, who we're talking about. Bo Limmer, who I think is going to be great depth behind Steve Avila at center. Like, this is incredible drafting, and they've done it year over year now. And it's no longer F them picks. It's more like let's find late round picks and have them be contributors and carve out the next Super Bowl window. And like Tyler Davis, I thought was so impressive. Like, what a day. He just said, "Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself." I mean, I thought he was awesome in every phase. I saw him play a little bit of 3 tech. I saw him play a little bit of 1 tech. I saw him play a little bit of nose tackle, just straight up in the 0 tech. He made a play that John Johnson called out on a screen where he just retracted his pass rush on the screen and just chased after the running back. Like, he just went all the way across sideline to sideline and just chased him down for 6'2", 300 pounds. The kid moves really, really well. And I thought he just was all over the field, causing pressure, tackles for a loss. That's the kind of thing you want to be able to see from a young defensive lineman who's hungry and can then go play in rotation with a guy like Bobby Brown up front in the nose tackle role. Even though you got guys like Kobe Turner and you got guys like Braden Fisk, this is another kid. If you can get him in rotation with Bobby Brown, you can get him in rotation with Kobe and Braden. Like, I mean, you got a lot of versatility with your guys up front, and that's what you're trying to carve out as this committee of pass rushers. Tyler Davis fits that mold.
I loved everything I saw from him. And then just to continue in the 6th round, Gentle Josh, 2 for 2, a 28-yarder, a 39-yarder, 1 for 1 on the extra point. I mean, just accurate. He's rocking number 16, which I love, favorite number. Big leg. His college long was 61 yards. I did want to see them get like kind of deeper on the field to see him like maybe like with a 40-yarder, see how that would have looked. But his kicks both look like they would have made it through from much further away. And then, just to harken back to last year for a second, Brett Maher and Lucas Haversick, missed a total of 11 field goals and 5 extra points last year, which I think is just inexcusable to miss 5 extra points in a season. So anything better than that from gentle Josh Hardy would be a huge improvement.
Gentle Josh. No, you were right. They split the uprights, both of his kicks. Game-winning extra point into the execution was perfect. This is a really smart kid. It's a kid that they said they saw this a lot in training camp. They saw this a lot in college. Siciliano was sure to call out that 61-yarder in terms of a long in college. He does have the big leg. He does have the accuracy. If he's the kicker of the future, we haven't had that since Matt Gay. You went Greg the leg, question mark, question mark, question mark. Matt Gay signs the biggest contract as a free agent kicker of all time with the Indianapolis Colts. And then we got to go through a kicker carousel with Brett Maher and Lucas Havrisik. We needed gentle Josh. We needed Joshua Cardi to be able to step up, and it seems like he's going to. But like you said, we got to test him out a little bit more. There was a situation, I think on 4th down, it was like a 4th and 3, where Stetson and Jordan Whittington were able to complete a pass and extend the drive. You could have tried a field goal there, right? Because I think the drive ended up stalling out, or Stetson threw a pick. So that's kind of the way that you're looking at things. Like, maybe we get the kicker a little bit more work, or we figure out a way to get Stetson in more comfortable situations. He seems like he's really comfortable rolling out of the pocket. We saw the Rams implement a lot of the pistol formation. You could run some of those duo run schemes out of that. So, that's where I want to see him get more comfortable, because if he sees the field, you're going to need to implement those things in real time. So
just to go back to Stetson for just 1 second, I think the notion was to potentially have him grow and be a replacement for Stafford, which I think personally is out the window, where I think now we should lower the bar to, after Jimmy G leaves next year, hopefully Stetson can just be a serious backup in the league.
Yeah.
And that is the bar, and that's fine. And I think he can reach that. So let's just get him to that point and not think about him as the future. Because
cost-controlled backup quarterback for the next 2 years after this year. Well, he's a 4th-round pick, so he's under contract with the Rams for the next 2 years on a rookie deal.
He has to control his rocket sauce, sauce control. And I was like, yeah, you're right. He does. He's got to fucking find
that rocket sauce, that gunslinger mentality's got to be tamed a little bit. It's too much. But, I think that'll come with time. It's just, I understand why Rams fans are a little bit queasy, anytime a quarterback throws 4 interceptions. But then the 4th down play, rolling to his left, throwing sidearm, finding Mike Forrestal, I thought was pretty impressive. Some other notable standouts. I thought Nick Hampton is going to be a really nice player in terms of speed. He's much needed depth off the edge. I like him in rotation with either Byron Young or Jared Verse. I also thought Keir Thomas and Zach Van Valkenburg, they did a really nice job as edge depth. And I think that they've been pretty consistent over the last couple of years in terms of preseason snaps, in terms of preseason production. I think they're all going to be battling to make the roster. Nick Hampton, I think, is a lock to make the roster. I thought Cam Kinchins, he only really kind of made one play on the ball. But I think he's a pass breakup machine. You saw him in the joint practice with the Cowboys. He's a really, really good tackler. He's got a nose for the ball. He's got a maturity about his game. I really, really like him a ton. Jason Taylor, the second, he led the team in tackles. I really, really liked him in terms of depth. He reminds me a lot of Jordan Fuller, and you no longer have Jordan Fuller on the roster. I think he's in Carolina. Sean Jolly, I thought, was really, really solid. Jake Hummel made every tackle he needed to make. That's why I thought the tackling was really sound from a preseason perspective. And you definitely need linebacker depth. Omar Spates, another guy with the 3s, I thought was pretty impressive, considering you needed to be able to shut down the defense, or shut down the Cowboys offense rather, later on in the game. Like I mentioned, 0 for 3 in the red zone. They forced 3 turnovers on downs, and they had 3 sacks. So, for the most part, not a ton of missed tackles. The linebacker depth needs to be developed. These are the perfect situations to do it. And the secondary alone, I feel like the secondary, the wide receivers, and the running backs probably have the most depth in general. The secondary only allowed 4.6 yards per pass on 44 pass attempts. That signals 2 things. A, really bad quarterback play. Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, not quality quarterbacks. But let's remind San Francisco fans that they traded away 2 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick to get them. I will never fail to remind a 49ers fan that on X. So watch out for that, because I will always remind them. And also, it indicates good depth in the secondary, right? I mean, like you do have some pretty solid depth. I mentioned Sean Jolly, Trey Tomlinson, Cam McCutcheon, Tanner Ingle, and even undrafted free agent Charles Woods, who has had a really good training camp. So big fans of those guys in terms of depth. I feel like that's where they're really good at identifying. Aubrey Pleasant is a great coach. Eric Yarber is a great coach. I think Ronnie Gold is the running backs coach. He's done a great job developing this group. And like Boston Scott, Nick, I was really impressed with what he did. Rivers and Boston Scott, I think, are both serviceable NFL running backs. But first week of the preseason, he led all NFL running backs in terms of total yards, 15 carries, 4.5 yards per carry, and 68 yards. And I think Boston Scott, he's going to be helping special teams, and he's going to be helping the pass game for Matthew Stafford and the run game. So
there may be a legitimate, and stop me here if you think I'm loony, but I think there could be like some reps that Boston Scott gets
for sure
throughout the season, not just preseason, on the run game, he's in there 100%. Because I mean, Rivers, we've seen it plenty, we've seen him in those situations. But if they feel like they can break something off with Scott, who has had kind of game breaking plays in the past, just against the Giants for whatever reason, that was the team he just always popped off against. I mean, they'll do it. I liked what I saw from him. And just to harken back to the defense one more time, from Shula, just from what we saw from the schemes, I was very impressed with the outer shell and everything that we had with
I mean, you're totally right. It seems like some of the same things are in place, right? Some of the same principles are in place from Ra's defense. So I mean, a lot of the zone coverages, those are the same, but you're going to see different sub packages. You're going to see different stunts, different fronts. And I think you tell the way that the defense kind of transitioned from middle of the field to the red zone. I feel like they really kind of put the clamps on them. So, I mean, there's a little bit of the bend, don't break in there a little bit. So you still got some of the zone tendencies.
If you would have told me that Raheem was still the defensive coordinator, let's just say I just had no idea that he's now with Atlanta, I would have believed you 100%, which personally, I don't think
that's a good thing.
Draw. Yeah, exactly. That's that bend don't break, but 4.6 yards per pass on 44 attempts is really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's where you could kind of hang your hat. The tackling, and I think the downfield coverage was really solid. And the red zone defense. You keep teams out of the end zone, you win football games. You have a chance in the end, at the very least. And then also I wanted to mention receivers too. We were all looking at special teams. I feel like they kicked the ball through the end zone for the first 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, they were like, hey, let's give Xavier Smith some run. He had 2 returns for 47 yards. So hats off to Xavier Smith for being a backup kick returner. I feel like you're going to see Tutu. You're going to see Boston Scott in that role. But if Xavier Smith can get some reps, he could be a special teams contributor. And I thought the offensive line was pretty fine. It was kind of makeshift. I mentioned this is what it looked like earlier on. You had Bo Limmer at center. A.J. Curie started left tackle. Zach Thomas was at left guard. Bo Limmer at center. Logan Bruss at right guard. Warren McClendon at right tackle. I thought it was pretty solid for the most part. So there's nothing really to be that upset about. You got Coach McVay post-game giving a victory speech. Stetson had some confidence now going into week 2 of the preseason. Even the joint practice, he'll probably get some snaps against the Cowboys just to keep kind of working on some things, some fundamentals. And also, Nick, it looks like the Rams have a new turnover hat. There's turnover chains, there's turnover sombreros, there's a lot of different ways to represent that your team just got a turnover. This looks like Bobby Brown representing the new Rams turnover hat. So you got some good mojo, some good juju going on in the clubhouse. And I think that this team needs the bond early on to be able to do so and have success later on in the season.
Who made that?
Good question. Probably Bobby Brown. Probably.
How could anybody see out of that?
I have no clue. Here, let me flash it again.
It's horrible. I love it. It's terrible, and I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. It's absolutely horrible, but it's fun.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the kind of things you love to see.
Yeah, they got some good camaraderie in the clubhouse. Everybody says that they would vote for Bobby Brown to be a comedian if there was any player on the roster to go live a life as a comedian after football.
We got a comedian, a conductor. We got it all.
Yeah, you do. And you know what? eyes on Bobby Brown because Tyler Davis looks like he's up and coming. So,
it's kind of a like, oh, and the comedian makes the tackle. Like that kind of goes hard, honestly.
It does. It kind of does. So we talked about what's next, right? So the Rams have 2 more preseason games coming up. So they play the Chargers this Saturday. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So August 17th, they play the Chargers. They play the Texans on the 24th. And after the 24th, there have been some permit delays with their Woodland Hills facility. They said that they should be in their Woodland Hills facility after they play the Texans. So like they get 2 weeks before the season starts. I mean, this is Los Angeles. There's going to be some delays in terms of commercial construction. So that's the nature of the beast. Yeah. And we mentioned too, that they have the joint practice, that they pivoted. They're going to Oxnard, not Dallas, to play the Cowboys again this upcoming Wednesday, instead of having to go play the Chargers at the Bolt in El Segundo, so that Rams players don't have to continue to get pissed over the state of the facilities for the Chargers. So that's preseason week 1, baby. We're rolling now.
Yep. It's not going to be that many episodes away until we get week 1 Knicks picks.
True.
We're going to do a Lions preview, talk about what they did in the offseason. I mean, I'm just really, really, really excited for football season.
Wait, did you say Knicks picks? That is Nick. That is not Dean.
Dean. Show it again. This is Dean and Colin.
Oh, we love it. Maybe we'll even get some of these coming back too. Dean's keys.
Hold on, just to talk about that for 1 second. We're at the end of the episode now, so I think this is okay. This is what Dean got me for Christmas this year. It's Lanky Kong, and on Dean's keys there's a little golden banana with the N64. He got me a Lanky Kong picture that hangs right here, so every time I do a pod I look over, it's right there.
It's supposed to act as inspiration to continue pursuing your dreams. Chase after the golden banana.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, a little symbolism.
Yeah.
Had to sprinkle in there for the good brother. And yeah, this shirt is incredible. Nick asked me to be the best man of his wedding, so I'm proudly representing this shirt. And I'm the dad, obviously, as you guys know, of a little one that Nikki got a chance to meet over the weekend. And it was very fulfilling for me to be able to see that, to be able to see you guys together. It warmed my heart. So I was very appreciative of the time we got to spend.
Co-best man.
Yeah, that's right. The co-best man. The things I do, right? Like, guys, you got to relate to me here as the older brother. The things we do for our younger brothers just to be named co-best man. I'll tell you what.
It's a technicality. It's a technicality. You have the final speech. You just have to live up to mine at your wedding.
Yeah, no shot. That's how I'm going to open the speech.
Yeah.
This is going to be nowhere near as close to good as Nick's, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
It'll be better. I'll be crying, I'm sure.
Yeah. We love you guys. We will be talking to you again soon, probably later on in this week. We'll talk about the joint practice. We'll talk about the preseason game coming up. We'll talk to you again after the Chargers preseason game. And make sure you guys like and subscribe. Join Autograph. I'm going to flash it one more time.
Yeah,
scan that QR code.
Rewarded for being a Rams fan. Check out the other podcasts on there. It's not just us. It's an abundance of great Rams fan podcasts. There are really fun articles on there too. It's just everything you want, really, as a fan who likes taking in fan content like us and like the other great Rams fans. So check it out. Autograph, code B1B3F930.
We appreciate you guys. Join. Let us know that you joined. 60% of the way there. We're getting closer. We love you guys, and go Rams.
Next episode, I'm going to have that thermometer that shows at a sales event that shows.
Yeah. Be right there. I love it. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.